It is PCOS Awareness Month. Special guest Zoha, the nutritionist, joins us. I think I'm on her Instagram right now. I'm not sure. I don't know where I am right now, but I'm somewhere in the digital world. We're talking about PCOS awareness. Now, okay, so if you've been diagnosed with PCOS, generally, if you go to and again, I may be at the risk of offending a medical doctor, but do they prescribe medicine? Is that the first course of action generally? I mean, what are the alternatives for someone that has PCOS?
Yeah, usually doctors will prescribe metformin or glucophage. A lot of my patients are on that. It has been known to help with insulin sensitivity, so I'm not against it, but I feel that there are many other interventions that can be put into place from a more natural perspective. Weight loss is one of the first things that women should focus on if they're overweight, and again, more than half of the women with PCOS are overweight. So the research actually shows that even a very small reduction in body weight, so 5% of total body weight, so that means about for an 80 kilogram woman, just 4 kilogram of body weight loss can really substantially improve their insulin sensitivity and many other hormonal issues that they have. So just a small amount of weight loss can make that difference.
Have you ever sort of come across a situation where a woman has said, I'm exercising and I'm trying to eat the right things, but I'm still not losing weight, and has PCOS? What happens there? What's happening there?
They're not restricting calories enough. So in that way, I help them kind of understand what their portion sizes should be, how much they should be eating for healthy weight loss, and what exactly they should be eating in terms of micronutrients and macronutrients. But in general, sometimes when people feel that they're not losing weight, it's because they're just not in enough of a deficit with calories, or they're not exercising hard enough. Sometimes hota hai ki log exercise karte hain, they eat so much thinking, oh, we just burned so many calories in exercise, but really you don't burn that much.
No, you don't. Look at your Fitbit. Your Fitbit will tell you. So you're saying that, so you're very much into the calorie counting. Like it's all about deficit and surplus when it comes to weight loss or weight gain.
Yeah, both. In terms of changing any sort of body weight, your body either has to have excessive energy or less energy, and then it starts to use your own fat cells or your storage to provide that energy. If it's not getting it from food, it needs it from somewhere, so it ends up using your own body's stored fat to provide that energy.
Give us a little rundown. What would you suggest to someone with PCOS? By the way, is this specifically any age group, or is it across any age group? Is it
any age group? Yeah, okay. It's pretty much the same guidelines.
Okay, so what kind of lifestyle would you suggest to someone that has PCOS, who's listening today and saying, you know what, I'm on medication? Would you tell them to get off the medication or taper medication? Number one. Number two, knowing that they need to adjust what they eat, what kind of stuff should they be eating?
There's a lot that you can do in terms of the diet for PCOS. It's actually quite similar to the recommendations for diabetes, because it's a very similar etiology. You have the same insulin resistance factor in PCOS, which is causing all of these problems. So they have to follow the same guidelines as diabetes. In terms of medication, I'm not a gynecologist or a doctor, so I can't tell them whether they should or shouldn't take medication, but they should definitely see their doctor, see their blood tests, and figure that out for themselves. So in terms of diet, one of the main things is having a diet with low glycemic load. I'm going to get a little bit technical here.
Explain that.
A little bit technical. So glycemic load is basically how quickly your when you eat certain carb-rich foods, how quickly that raises blood sugar in your body. I actually want to go back to how insulin works and things like that before we get into this. Might be more clear that way. So when women have problems with their insulin sensitivity or their insulin resistance, basically insulin is a hormone in our body that's responsible for our blood sugar or our glucose control. Same thing with diabetes, same thing with PCOS. So what happens is that when your body eats carbs, it digests into glucose, and then your blood sugar level will rise. And if you have normal, insulin levels and you're healthy, you don't have any problems, your insulin will take care of keeping your body in the right blood sugar level amount. So it'll shuttle glucose into muscle cells, and it'll prevent your blood sugar from being very high. So it doesn't stay in the bloodstream for very long. High sugar sugar in the bloodstream is what causes all the health complications, okay? So if your insulin is not working properly, your blood sugar just stays high, which causes all of these issues. So ways that, if you know yourself that you have problems with your insulin, you want to make sure that you do things that'll help your insulin work better. One thing is that you want to eat small, frequent meals throughout the day. So giving your body small amounts of carbs instead of larger meals. Basically, if you overload your body with carbs at one time, whether it's healthy or unhealthy carbs, there's a big rush of blood sugar, and since you don't have the best insulin, you're not even good at, managing all of that. But if you give your body small amounts of sugar or small amounts of carbs throughout the day with small, frequent meals, your body can handle that load a lot better and keep you healthier. The thing that I was talking about with the glycemic load now, so the glycemic index was a term that was coined in the 1980s. One of my professors, actually, at the University of Toronto, he discovered the whole thing with the glycemic index, which is amazing. So the glycemic index is how quickly certain foods will raise your blood sugar level. So the scale goes from low glycemic index foods all the way to high glycemic index foods. Certain carbs foods are given a number between 0 to 100, okay? So 100 high glycemic index is given to things like white bread and white sugar that cause the biggest blood sugar rise in your body, and it causes spikes in both your blood sugar, your insulin, and then you experience that high sugar rush, and then you get a crash. So it's just horrible for your blood sugar management to have
some examples of high glycemic index foods.
So processed,
bread, you said.
Yeah,
bread.
white bread, white flour, white sugar, all the processed foods, even cornflakes. Anything without a lot of fiber in it would be a high glycemic index food. On the other hand, with diets that are lower in the glycemic index, so basically it's divided between low glycemic index, medium, and high. So there's basically a very, very comprehensive chart online. Everybody can look it up on www.glycemicindex.com. And there's a whole list of foods that are low, medium, and high in GI. So all the studies, there's been thousands of studies done that tell people that for PCOS, you need to follow a low glycemic index diet and have a low glycemic load in your body. So low glycemic index foods are usually our whole foods, the least processed carbs, like steel-cut oats. On the high, even certain foods that we know are good for us, like oatmeal and oats, steel-cut oats or unprocessed oats are on the low GI scale, while ultra-processed instant oats that are mixed with, maple, flavoring and things like that, they actually fall in the high glycemic index load. So it's important to eat very unprocessed foods, a lot of whole grains, beans, dals, these kind of things. They're the carbs that are the healthier carbs. They fall in the low glycemic index category. So as a nutritionist, I help clients, navigate their diet around these low GI foods so that their blood sugars are better managed.
But that just sounds so overwhelming. But do you what does one do? Does one go and clean up the closet, the cabinet, like in one go? It's just, I feel like I'm so overwhelmed.
Sorry,
where do I begin?
Yeah, I got a bit technical. Sorry about that. But really, what it really means is things that we already know, which is eat a lot of fiber in your diet. Yeah. Eat things that are not processed, have a lot of fiber. So fiber is found in things like our dals, beans, chanas, chickpeas, red kidney beans. Eat a lot of those in the diet. Eat whole grains, so brown bread, chakki ka, chakki roti, brown rice. Fruits and vegetables are very, very high in fiber as well as other micronutrients. And then we also have our nuts and seeds. So focus your diet around healthy plant-based foods. And this will help not only manage your blood sugar level, but it also decreases your hunger. Fiber is known to increase satiety, help with weight loss. So focusing on fiber for people with PCOS is really important.
Well, we're getting some of your questions on 0315 111 9191. You can also call through 021 3452 1596. We're speaking to Zoha the Nutritionist. It's PCOS Awareness Month. This is Mr. Probs with Waves. It's 9:45 on Khalid Malik's Morning Jam. It is PCOS Awareness Month. Zoha the Nutritionist joins us. We're going to invite our next guest in. She's a wellness blogger and someone that's lived with PCOS and had her own battles with PCOS. Joining us, wellness blogger Mahrukh Abbasi. Good morning, Mahrukh.
Good morning.
And welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Have you met Zoha before?
No, I haven't.
What do people call you, Zoha or Zoha?
Both.
Both. Zoha. We'll call you Zoha. Now, Mahrukh, you're someone that's sort of had your own battle with PCOS.
Yes.
When did you even discover this is something too, like PCOS? When was it first sort of diagnosed?
Okay, so like 20 years ago when I was 18, 19, and I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and this was also something that they told me, and I was like, what is this? PCOS? What is that? And all they did was they didn't really educate me. They just put me on glucophage, 500 mg morning and evening, and a birth control pill. And, for a girl who's like 18, 19, you don't understand what's going on. But there was no counselor, there was no doctor that could educate me on what I should do. They didn't even tell me at that point if I should change my diet, if I should exercise more, if I should, incorporate some good stuff into my life.
Did you take these tablets for the rest of your life? Was that what it said?
And this is how we manage PCOS. And first you have this other tablet for your thyroid that you have to take for the rest of your life. And now you have this. And the reason you're just not having regular period is because your cycle's off. And to manage that cycle, to make it more regular, we're going to give you the birth control pills. But not really going to the cause of what's...
I can't even imagine how do you the kind of self-dialogue, self-chatter when someone says, okay, you have PCOS, what went through your mind? So what is happening to my body? Like, how did you process
So
that?
I think in Urdu and English, and I'm like, WTF, ye kya ho raha hai? And I'm like, ab kya mere bacche nahi ho sakte? Like, you think of that because you keep thinking, like, why are they prescribing me such weird medicine? And glucophage is taken for diabetics. And so I was like, acha kya mujhe sugar hai? Like, what's going on?
There's that confusion that you're faced with too, and when people come to you, like, what is going on? Why am I taking this?
Usually when they come to me, they already know that they have it, so they're just there freaking out, being like, what can I do now? Well, how can I manage this? But I think that's really unfair to people, It is a doctor's role or somebody else to educate these people. And it's also found that women with PCOS have higher rates of depression, anxiety, and other psychological factors. So we need to really implement that in the treatment. And when they are first told that they have these things, how to manage it and what it means.
Or like talk about symptoms like mood swings, like crazy mood swings, anxiety, and losing hair or gaining weight or having more hair on my face, or things like skin pigmentation, like stuff that I didn't know what was happening to my body. And at that time I wasn't like Google savvy,
But I mean, so the doctor. It's what surprises me is the doctor back then didn't even say to you, "Listen, you might want to, look into your diet, etc." But has that changed since then?
No,
do you kind of have the same attitudes?
Actually, I remember that doctor. She was in such a hurry because she had a line of patients, and she said, you can reschedule another appointment. And I was just kind of like, you were just told with something. Yeah, I know it's not like she told me I had cancer or anything, but it was still something I didn't understand. And I feel now that I'm at this age, that at that point you need someone to guide you, someone to tell you it's okay, you can manage this. This is this, but you can still manage it.
I know on your wellness blog on Instagram, which is Mahrukh on a Roll, you posted a couple of things related to PCOS because of its PCOS Awareness Month. What are some of the questions that you're getting from the ladies that are following your wellness blog?
So I feel so bad. There are so many girls that message me and say, how did you have kids? I'm just thinking, when I get married, should I tell my husband, am I going to be able to have kids? And I'm like, yeah, you can have kids, Yeah, I mean, one of the symptoms they say is infertility, but I feel that if you can manage with your lifestyle, without taking these drugs, but because they all have side effects.
Yeah.
But you should, it's not a temporary diet that you would be on. You would have to make a lifestyle change. And that means accepting it, to say that it's not temporary, it is going to be permanent. I went on an anti-inflammatory diet, metabolism.
We have the expert here. We need clarification with jargon. Well, let's go to try. We'll come back. Now, there's lots to talk about here, but it is overwhelming, and I want to bring the men into it also. As a nutritionist, what would you say to men who are a little confused? Because I can't imagine what it must be like to live with something like PCOS and the mood swings and the anxiety, and men do get confused, and men, I think, are misinformed and they're not sure how to handle it. So we want to bring them into it also, how they can help. But if you have any questions, 0315 111 9191, 021 3452 1596. This is Pitbull, 3 to Tango.